But when you get one, use that moment of clarity to create a new reality. To turn your pastime into your full-time. Your personal style into your signature brand. Your homemade recipe into a household name. Your daydream into your dream job. Your talent into a movement. From taking the first step to seeing it all come together, you can do it yourself. Wix.
All right. Well, Bulls officially clinched a play-in spot here, so I will be seeing you guys in mid-April for at least one post-game stream. But yeah, good job by the Bulls to, I guess, go ahead and clinch this one. Had some thoughts that they might lose this one because they're at home and the Raptors just are a weird team and they've been playing well recently, but Bulls took care of business, so good job there. Thought the Bulls came out a lot better in just all aspects of this game compared to that Thunder game. Yeah, I don't expect them to win the Thunder game, but I expect you to come out and just play better than what you did. This one, they came out, their hands were active, they were getting steals consistently, and that was something that they did not do against the Thunder, so good job there. And then, biggest thing was that they kept control of the ball, right? You know, what was it, 17 turnovers against the Thunder, and tonight we had 5 turnovers in the first half. You ended with 12, so better overall result, but you know, 5 turnovers in the first half is what really kind of led the way, and you saw this Bulls team look a lot better on offense because of it. So keeping the turnovers down, I just think is humongous, especially against this sort of Raptors team that just has like length everywhere. And throughout, you know, the rest of the season and heading into next year, the turnovers are just gonna be something we have to look at. There were definitely some bad ones tonight, but we can live with you know, some bad ones if you limit them. So keep doing that. So that's kind of like my biggest takeaway is like, all right, you know, second game of back-to-back, you came out and you looked all right. You didn't look like you were flat. You know, it probably helps that you didn't play in the fourth quarter of that Thunder game, and you were able to not turn the ball over too heavily in this one and go out and put up 137, which is great. So offense continues to click, and it's overall a really good sign for this team. So I'm hoping that moving forward for the rest of the season, so we have 6 games left. I still am not a person that wants us to just like start getting better play-in spots or anything like that. The Magic won tonight, so I really think that the 8 seed is pretty much like impossible to get for us, but I mean there is always a way for us to potentially get there. So this is not updated. Let me just go ahead and refresh this. Let's see. Still not updated, but Magic won. So with that in mind, where the Magic won, so they're gonna be like 2.5 games ahead of us still. So yeah, I really think it'd be hard to catch the Magic. We'll see about the Miami Heat. At least in my opinion, I would want to be below the Miami Heat still in the standings. And Portland won tonight, so there is still a chance you could get below Portland. San Antonio did lose tonight, so it's gonna be hard to get below them. But overall, in terms of the tankathon, I think staying below Miami and staying below Portland would be great. You gotta get below Portland still. They're still a half a game behind, or a game behind you, I think. But getting below them would be a good idea if it were up to me. So try to do that. I know it's hard, but that would be kind of my overall plan for the rest of the season. And we'll see. Other news is that Lonzo Ball, I mean, it seems like they're trying to still bring him back, and I don't know why. I personally would just shut down Lonzo for the year. I don't want him getting injured. It sounds like he's really trying to come back on Friday, and if not then maybe like somewhere down the road next week. But I personally would not try to bring him back. I'm concerned with that wrist. It doesn't seem like he doesn't need surgery for the wrist in the off season, but we talked about this earlier in previous streams, but also just when the injury happened, that if he went out and re-injured the wrist or further injured it, he would require surgery, and he would be out for a while. So I would personally like them just to see if they just shut down Lonzo, but doesn't seem like they're going to do that. It looks like he's going to really try to come back. So I hope he's going to stay healthy, but that's something I'm like very nervous about. Bulls are very short-handed tonight. We saw all the two-way players get some minutes. Jameer Young got some actual real-time minutes, which was crazy. But overall, I would say that the main guys, specifically Kevin Huerter and Kobe White, Giddey, were overall pretty solid. Vooch had also a pretty alright night. We'll talk about Buzelis having 5 stocks with like a long time left in the first half. And then THT, man, like I know he was getting a lot of crap on Twitter tonight, and look, I think that some of his minutes are insane to watch. Like he is very, very chaotic. Doesn't seem like he's in control of anything at any point. But yet he finds a way to score the bucket or the basketball and get some buckets, and it's just like, you know, as much as I want to hate on him at times, there's just also the part of me that I'm like, wow, you know, you went and performed against the Oklahoma City Thunder team in garbage time last night, and then you come out tonight and like you at least go and perform like an alright game. Not saying it was anything spectacular tonight by THT. 27 points is pretty damn good, but you know, he's all over the place. He seems to be off balance and making some odd decisions, but at the end of the day, can I really be that hard on him? Because there are other players on this current squad that I just don't think have played well really at all recently, and not even in garbage time. And I think we can all kind of point to some people, but it's just like I kind of just respect the fact that, hey, he's going out there and he's playing hard and he's actually playing all right. Is it something that's going to be sustainable? Absolutely not. I know THC's not going to put up 20 plus, you know, off the bench every night, but at least he's going out there and performing a little bit compared to some of these other people on this team, and that's, I think, something we need to keep in mind. So, you know, shout out to him for at least playing hard and taking advantage of his minutes when given to him. And honestly, I think he was kind of deserving just to be the main guy off the bench tonight, because he had a lot of guys out. No Dalen Terry, no Julian Phillips tonight. Obviously, Trey Jones, Lonzo, I are all out. So, you know, THC ends up being like one of the main guys off the bench, and he did pretty well in his time. So I gotta give him credit there. I know a lot of people don't really want to see him, but I understand. I understand overall where people are coming from with that, but at the same time, I have to respect the fact that he's doing better than some other people, bro. Because, man, oh man, I mean, I hate to just talk about this guy once again, but we'll keep it brief. Very bad first half from him. I don't know what this guy is doing sometimes, and it's just like, whew. So yeah, shout out to these guys though. They all play pretty well. Buzelis, I'm very, very impressed with him right now, because I was questioning if the 4 steals was right, but Buzelis actually had 4 steals in like the first like 16 minutes of the game, I think. that was incredibly impressive. And then he went and then got a block on Scotty Barnes, and it was like, wow, that's incredible, bro. So he did a really good job of showing off yet again his defensive versatility. We saw 4 blocks last night, and I believe he had a steal last night as well. And so tonight we get 4 steals and a block. So that's awesome to see. I am very, very excited for his future on the defensive end of the floor. I think that he is truly a guy that you'll be seeing when he's in his overall prime form. Like, he's going to be a guy you're going to be like, oh wow, he averages 3 stocks a game. So, you know, whatever the combination is, whether it's steal, like two blocks and a steal, or, you know, 1.5 of each, I do think we'll see a guy that averages that from him, which will be awesome if we're able to get that. So I really am. I'm loving what we're seeing for Buzelis defensively. Pretty overall quiet night on offense. I thought he didn't get as many opportunities he probably should have on the ball, but to see this guy go and give this sort of defensive level of intensity, especially at the end of his rookie season where he may have hit a wall earlier, is awesome. Like, I see him like clearly starting to understand the rotations, but also just have the instincts like, oh, I gotta go try to, you know, get this ball in the passing lanes. Like, that's what we really want to see from him, and he's getting it. And he probably should have had many more points tonight because Kobe and Giddey both threw 2 lobs that were way too high for him. But he's doing everything that I want to see from him as we come to a close to this season. The defensive playmaking is on full display, and I'm like, oh my god, I hope this is something that we can head into next season, and then obviously more down the road in his future, where we're like, man, this guy is just a defensive beast. Is going to continue to give us these either blocks or steals consistently, and be a guy to lead the charge on the fast break opportunities. So even though it's only 9 points tonight from Buzelis, it's like this is why we're excited for him. And you know, a combination of basically 5 blocks and 5 steals in the past 2 games is phenomenal. So I'm really hoping that we continue to see this stuff. Not gonna lie, I could have used a non-30-minute game from THT. Even though he's playing well, what's the point? I think the point is just that everyone's out, right? I get it where it's just like, I mean, he's not really part of this future. At least I don't think he is. But I just think, you know, at the end of the day, everyone's just out. Kobe played 34 minutes still tonight, and, you know, the guys kind of were sitting at the end of the game. So I think the reason why he played is just that limited bodies. Again, it would not be my choice personally, but, you know, Donovan wants to try to win every game, so he went out there and put up a lineup that he thinks is going to give the best chance to win. So I can't be too mad at it. It's, you know, it's Billy's job to go and win games. So do I think he didn't really need 30 minutes? At the end of the day, when you kind of look at like who's available, it kind of makes sense. But yeah, I can understand the reason why you wouldn't really want to see him for 30 minutes. But hey, he played all right, you know. I just don't see a max player / first option in the bars. What am I missing? Well, reminder to everybody about the max contract for Scotty Barnes, okay? So everyone's going to look at, again, the raw number for Scotty. And it's just like, wow, he's going to get paid a ton of money. This is not the contracts that like Giannis is getting or Jokic is getting or anything like that, okay? It is only 25% of the salary cap. So, you know, I personally look at that as like, hey, 25% of the salary cap, that's not what Levine got, right? It's not what Levine got. It's a guy that you're probably looking at as probably like your third option, right? In an ideal sense, probably in a more better sense, if you're trying to save money, it would definitely be like your second option, where you're getting him at like a 25% of salary cap. But, you know, with Scotty, I understand that, like, he's probably not going to be your main guy. That makes a lot of sense in my head. I think he's been pretty underwhelming for the year. But yeah, he was really struggling in this one, which was kind of crazy to watch. I do want to throw him some slack though, because I do think that the whole like situation around the Raptors is kind of odd, and so he's not really playing with anybody consistently. He's not playing with RJ Barrett. He's not really playing with Quickly consistently. Grady Dick's not playing tonight. Like, there's just a lot kind of going on, so it's kind of hard for me to kind of figure out who's like his best people to play alongside with. But Yeah, I can agree that he's not your main option, and hence why the Raptors are trying to be bad, because they're like, well, Scotty's not our main guy, so we're gonna go and be bad and try to get a top overall pick this draft, and we'll see about next year. But I kind of respect what they're kind of overall thinking, because you know they're not settling. They're just like, okay, we went and traded for BI, but we're gonna also try to be bad this year and try to get a pick, and hopefully get a top 4 pick. And I mean, hell, if they go and get a Dylan Harper, for God's sake, like, man, I think they're looking at a pretty good spot overall. I would have a lot more faith in their future if they get a Dylan Harper on the squad. So yeah, TC is a very ball dominant guy that can make his own basket. I respect this game, don't mind him off the end of the bench. You're right, and like, look, no one was available tonight, right? Like, a lot of guys were out, so you know, him playing 30 minutes is not normal, right? But I think that him coming and just playing well, like, it's just something that we don't see enough from other players, unfortunately. So yeah, he's definitely not a guy I'm having in my rotation. I would not want him in my rotation, but assuming that guys are out and you need a depth piece that can kind of play the 1, 2, or 3, like, he's kind of a nice, decent guy for it. So don't like to agree with me, but that was one of Kobe's best games this season for me. It's because he took good shots and do the head down, only looking to score thing he'd do, and goes luck. But mostly I really like that Kobe looked and made some good passes cleanly. Yeah, I can get behind that this was maybe one of his better games tonight. I wouldn't call it his best game, but this was definitely one of his better games. I would agree with that, because Kobe, I think that we saw his struggles in that Thunder game, and the Raptors, you know, again, they've been playing good defense recently, so you got to give them some credit. And to see Kobe then take another team that has some pretty lengthy overall guys and attack them hard to the basket and get into the lane, whether it was to finish or to pass, was good to see. After that Thunder game, which was an absolute disaster for not just him but everybody, to see him bounce back and return to the Player of the Month, Kobe, was good to see. So good job by him. He also had to do a lot tonight because he was pretty much the backup point guard tonight, because you know, when Giddey comes out, then it's him. There is no guard off the bench tonight that can handle those responsibilities because everyone's out. So he did a really good job of kind of doing a lot of things, and he didn't have too many turnovers, which is good. Shot it efficiently and didn't take any sort of wild shots, like you said. So yeah, I can get behind this as probably one of his better games of the year. Buzelis doing this as rookie too. Oof, yeah, I'm excited, man. Buzelis, bro, if this is what we're gonna be seeing, like, this could happen at like any given night. Like, oh my god, I'm very excited to see this for Buzelis. Like, it's gonna be awesome if he truly does turn into like this really incredible defensive player. It's gonna be very tough. Sorry, I'm watching my White Sox lose. It's going to be really tough, but I think he has that potential with his overall size, athleticism, and length, man. Like, it's there, and the biggest thing is also he just doesn't seem to be afraid. So I'm like, oh, man, if he is going to be a guy where we're like, oh, my God, he's going to give us, like, two blocks, two steals a game, like, that's going to be awesome. And I'm hoping this is what we're looking for. Let's see. Kobe drive kick and second was good, yeah. And the comment on Kobe and Giddey both using that well-involved Vooch, so he took off, and Booz also gained from that well on his own efforts to self-create being granted. Like, this was probably the most I've ever seen Vooch roll in a while, like, into the basket after setting a screen. He's been kind of really fading a lot. So to see him actually do a pick and roll and not pick and like fade back to the three-point line or pick and pop was good to see. You know, at the end of the day with Vooch, like, I'm not overall that impressed, which is mean of me, but I'm just kind of in like this mode with Vooch. I just want him off the team. So, you know, if this gets him off the team, awesome. But yeah, credit to those two guards. They did a good job of finding him. Especially Giddey early on. He was fighting Vooch early. The Raptors were switching a lot, or they just were not guarding him for whatever reason. And Giddey found him. So good job recognizing that he was open. As the game slows down for Matas, the better he gets, because his self defense is elite, bro. Like, there was a moment even kind of later in the game. I think it was in the third quarter. He didn't get the block or anything, right? Like, there was nothing that like went into the box score, and people are probably going to forget about it, but he was basically in like an open court situation against Emmanuel Quickly, and quickly, you know, he lives up to his name of like being fast, and you just saw Buzelis just get big and quickly couldn't do anything about it. Like he would like quickly try to like do like a Euro step on him, but Buzelis was just like hands in the air, like I'm not letting you get past me. And when quickly looked like he was about to go up for a shot, we saw then Buzelis like really use his body to cut off that angle, and quickly had to like be forced to throw it out. Like it's these sort of moments where it's not just like his help defense, which has been pretty solid, especially in this game in terms of his hands before the shot went up. Like he was just getting his hands on the ball or getting to passing lanes tonight. But it's also just like in like these certain situations where I feel like he probably isn't favored, he's doing a good job. Like that's the part where I'm like, oh my god, if he's gonna be able to stop like a fast break opportunity, or you know, if there's an isolation opportunity or something like that against one of the better guards in the league, like he might still be a guy that is able to stop those sort of possessions. And it's like, wow, that's awesome. So I'm not saying quickly's an all-star or anything like that, he isn't, but if he really is gonna be able to like get better and start growing, like, and trust his instincts and start recognizing certain tendencies of players, like, oh, I think we're looking at a premier defender. But can't get too ahead of ourselves because this is obviously rookie season and he's got to continue this into next year. But the signs are there. The signs are all there for Buzelis, and it's going to be awesome to watch him grow, and I'm looking forward to it. THT is a bench bucket getter. Honestly, isn't as strong as Kobe, but it's sort of similar to how I see Kobe on a good team. I disagree with that personally. I think THT the past 2 games has been he's been, you know, one hot, like he's gotten his shots to go down. To me, THT is very, very, very like head down, like I'm just gonna go to the basket and do my own thing. He isn't exactly the best sort of driving kick sort of guy, which I think Kobe has done a pretty all right job this year of. So I personally, I don't see Kobe as only like an end of bench sort of bucket getter. I think Kobe could be a, you know, maybe we'll see as like maybe a bench bucket getter, but he wouldn't be the end of bench bucket getter. But I do think that when we watch THT, it's just like I think THT is more the end of the bench type of guy. There's going to be some games where he's going to come in like this and look absolutely incredible, but I don't think he's really in any sort of rotation, honestly. Unless some other team is going to be able to find like a different sort of level from him consistently, because I think we have to remind ourselves there was moments when THT was still in the rotation earlier in the year and like it was looking horrible. So I personally have him as like an end of bench type of guy. Like I know I'm not a person that's like, oh, we're going to be running this guy consistently like every single night. I wouldn't do that, but you know, in terms of a depth piece, like sure, I wouldn't be that mad about it. He signed for the minimum, so get him for a minimum contract. That seems pretty good to me. Yeah, I don't think Charles is saying he's a future part of the future at all. He's just kind of saying he's just a good bucket getter. What did Will Smith out for like 7 minutes ago replace Vooch for sure that game? He didn't need to be. It didn't need to be Vooch. Oh, I agree, but you know, Billy Donovan. I mean, I also just thought like. I understand that Zach Collins, he's done his job, but like I wouldn't have minded taking Zach Collins out either for like maybe like 6 of his minutes tonight, just to get Jalen Smith some run, because Jalen Smith like checked in that like basically the game was over. It was just like I feel bad for him, man. I mean, he's getting paid like a decent chunk, so like maybe I shouldn't feel too bad, but he was in the rotation for most of the year, and then all of a sudden he's just out of it. So I would have liked to have seen him get some more run for sure. I'm not gonna say at the time. I get what you're saying. Oh, I mean, yeah, I'm not saying he's part of the future either. I'm just saying that. I'm just saying, like, I think that he's done a good enough job where I'm like, wow, hey, you're taking advantage of the minutes like given to you, and you're taking advantage of the opportunity. There are some guys on this team who just don't take advantage of the minutes given to them, and they get, you know, at least minutes every game. THT didn't play for like a long time until the last 2 games, right? And so he's taking advantage of the minutes. OKC was pure garbage time, but tonight he came in and actually played well in the rotation, and then he also played well in garbage time. There's some players that don't play well in garbage time, and there's some players that obviously don't play well during rotational minutes. So that's just something that I think needs to be pointed out. Like, hey, there's a guy that I don't think really deserves too many minutes, but he's going out and outperforming some people on this roster, at least the past couple of games. So look, bro, like, you're lucky right now that there's so many injuries for some people, but like, you know, I don't really care how much money you're getting paid, but you gotta go and perform. You know, nothing should be granted to anybody, and I just respect that THT went out and at least performed. There's something that people just don't do. Wonder what Donovan's thought process behind the decision to give THT 32 minutes. Again, lack of people, right? Lack of available bodies. The Bulls had pretty much 8 guys available, or I guess 9 guys if you include Jalen Smith before the two-way guys. So I'm not too critical of it personally. I mean, would I have liked to have been like 22 minutes instead of 32? Yeah, for sure. But you know, I think it's all right at the end of the day. I mean, there's just not a lot of guys available tonight, so it's kind of hard to really be looking at Donovan as like, what are you doing? Like, you know, if THT played 32 minutes and you had Trey Jones available, Io available, you know, and Dalen Terry and Julian Phillips available, then yeah, I'd be looking at Donovan like, what the hell are you doing? But no one's available tonight, so guys are out. The Bulls literally took a beating for some guys in certain body parts, so yeah. I'm very impressed by Matas. I am also. Yeah, even though he only has 9 points because of how good his defense was. Imagine he could be a 16, 17 point average to go along with this kind of defense. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for, man. If Buzelis can get there, then I mean, that's an incredibly impactful player. I mean, you want to talk about 3 and Ds, right? I think he can be a little bit more than 3 and D. Like, he's not just like a good perimeter defender. Like, he's an overall really solid defender everywhere. But, you know, he's a guy that just seems like he has some ability to create off the dribble. He's got to fine tune some stuff, but I think we've kind of talked about that already this year. But the potential's there. So 16, 17, 18 points per game, and being a guy that goes out and plays this level of defense for Buzelis, like, oh my god, that's a phenomenal overall draft pick then. So yeah, I'm hoping. I'm really hoping that we're gonna see that from him. That's a lot to do, but all things considered, I mean, I see the potential there. It's there in him. So yeah, it's gonna be a big summer, next couple of seasons for him, and I'm gonna be looking forward to it. Loses getting respect though in that Scotty was put on to defend. But I mean, also I just think Buzelis just didn't really get too many opportunities, which is fine. Like, I'm not freaking out over it. I think he could have gotten some more because like he had some nice like on ball stuff against the Thunder, and they like ran some pick and roll sets for him. But you know, it's all right. And again, he should have probably had 2 more buckets than what's listed tonight because the lobs were missed. So yeah. Almost every game Matas does something that makes me marvel at how he dropped to us. I'm also just, I mean, look, I will also admit that like I wasn't like the biggest fan of him when we did draft him. It's just like I said my concerns about him last stream, but I can kind of understand why he dropped a little bit, right? I can understand why he wasn't a top 5 pick for sure, but to see him drop to 11 to me is insane. Like even with all my concerns, I was still so sure that he would go top 8, like no matter what would have happened. Like even with all my concerns about him that I was kind of thinking about, like the rest of the draft class I was looking at, I'm like, well, I have so many other concerns about these guys, so you know, if I had to choose anybody, I would probably choose this guy ahead of this person. So like that's the reason why I thought Ron Holland was going to the Bulls, because I thought Holland would be a guy that would go late lottery, and I thought Buzelis would go top 5 area. But the fact that he dropped past top 5, top 10 is just like, what? Like that genuinely doesn't make any sense to me, considering everyone else's concerns I had for them. So yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what was going on in a lot of franchises' minds, but I'm very pleased that we were able to get him, because it luckily fell to us, and we have him for the next probably at least the next 9 years, hopefully 9, maybe 8, and hopefully it turns into something great. Sorry, I scrolled too far. Oh, I didn't scroll too far. Where? Thought they would put Scotty on Giddy, to be honest, but I guess if you have length 6'6" to 6'10" isn't slow, it's good to put on Giddy. Yeah, they just have length everywhere, so I wasn't shocked that they like put Scotty like only on Giddy. Yeah, I think it's all right though. Giddy got his points early, and then it was a little bit of a struggle later in the game, but he did a good job in the second quarter scoring. So yeah. We are lucky because he chose to go to Ignite after so many bums getting drafted from Ignite. Teams were afraid of drafting him. That is also something that I guess people are sort of worried about. But I mean, look, as much as people want to like hate on Scoot Henderson, like he's done better. Not saying he's gonna turn anything special, but like I mean, he's not like playing like an absolute bum anymore. So I would hope that people are not so afraid of it. Like I know like Ron Holland also was part of the G League Ignite, and you know he's had his overall concerns, but. Yeah, I can maybe sort of understand it, but at the same time, I would hope that's not like something that's going to stay consistent, because I think the Ignite program is an overall good idea, and I want to give like these players as many opportunities outside of college. You know, if it were up to me, I would get rid of like the whole 1 year removed from high school rule. I personally would not want to do that. Like I would get rid of it if it was up to me. But a lot of people would disagree with me on that. But I would personally get rid of it. But if that's gonna stay, which it seems like it's going to, then why not? You know, give these guys as many opportunities as possible to not have to go to college. You know, I personally would always look into these sort of options, and so I'm hoping that people aren't just suddenly afraid to not, or people are not going to be afraid moving forward of like picking guys that went to the G League instead of going to a premier college program. You know, obviously there's the overseas stuff, but I think it's good having an option in the United States for it. Look, as much as people like 5 times not saying his name yet. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to get to. That's basically he's the main problem. But there are some guys also that I feel like, you know, until recently, that I'm like, hey, you're getting some opportunities, you're just not performing. And you know, it's something to just keep in mind. I've been impressed by Herder's soft skill. It seems pretty high IQ, does a lot of little things. He's played a lot better than I thought he was going to the past couple of games, and obviously he didn't play last night. But yeah, I think Herder's been all right. Yeah, I know I've been a big hater on him overall, but he's been pretty all right here. So I don't think he's a starter by any means on this roster moving forward, and I hope he isn't. But yeah, 3-point shooting is obviously very valuable. So. If he's able to just keep that percentage up and do stuff like what he did tonight, which is do the back cuts, you know, dunk the ball, move off ball and get points in the paint, like then he looks pretty valuable. The problem is just that I don't think he's going to do that consistently. He's done it better here, but I hope that's something that just isn't like a flash in the pan, like how we've been talking about how March is weird and now they're officially into April. So I hope so. I really am hoping that he's gonna continue to prove me wrong on some stuff, because he has looked overall pretty good here after that rough start. He is our Voldemort at this point. He who shall not be named. Yeah, you know who. High hopes for Buzelis. Oh, bro, man, I'm gonna be so intrigued heading into next season for Buzelis. I'm gonna be very, very intrigued by him, and I hope it's gonna be awesome. Tishi having that many shot attempts than Buzelis is frustrating. I think again it's kind of hard to be that critical of it. Once again, Buzelis should have had at least 2 more shot attempts. He had 2 passes to him that were lobs that were too high, so that would have been 2 more shot attempts. So he would have been 5 for 7. Do I think that THC was taking too many? Maybe. There are definitely moments where I'm like, I don't really need you to shoot here, but you know, he's at least going out and performing well. The thing is with THT is that, like, again, the Bulls just didn't have a lot of guys available, so like he's kind of running like the secondary creator, and you know the Bulls are kind of relying on it, so it's all right. I understand the overall annoyance by it, but I'm not going to be too critical of it. And again, like I'm cool with Buzelis not maybe taking so much on his plate right now. You know, he's been doing really well recently in terms of the scoring. I think it's okay if he isn't taking too much on the offensive end at the moment. I'm more hopeful I'm more than hopeful for Montes. Remember the step back he did in the summer league? I won't lie. When he did those step back shots in the summer league, I was looking at those shots. I'm just like, yeah, that's not gonna happen in the games. Like, I just don't see that ever happening. I might be wrong about that. Like, I genuinely might be wrong about that whole thing, because when I watch summer league games, I'm just like, I'm always like watching. I'm like, okay, what is something that I think can translate? And again, like his overall interior defense and, you know, blocking shots from smaller guards, like it seemed like that was going to translate. I'm like, yeah, that's going to come in and he's going to really be a good shot blocker, and his handles seem to be okay, and so I think he can put the ball on the floor a little bit and get to the basket pretty effectively. The step back shots, though, I was just like, I don't think that's gonna ever be like there for him. Like that seems like a summer league thing. I might be wrong, because like his handles are better than what I thought they were, and if he's able to have the footwork as a 6'10" guy and consistently do that, like, oh boy. We've seen some step back threes. We saw a step back three today, kind of, but it was off like a catch and shoot opportunity. So I don't know if we don't really want to call it a step back shot, but I mean, it might be there, bro. Like, it might genuinely be there for him. If he's able to make step back threes, like, oh my god. Then, honestly, I mean, we might be looking at a guy that's like Tatum on offense, but I don't want to get too ahead of that. Like, that's not something I'm going to be like, oh my god, he's hitting step back threes, we're the next Jason Tatum. Like, I'm not going to be there yet, but I mean, if he can, bro, oh man, that'd be awesome. And Lakers game, Kev called out the positioning idea to Pat to get the stop and pointing Giddey to Kobe as open shooter at the steal in addition to making his own three. So I think overall, like, it's not just Kevin Huerter. I think overall guys are doing that better. I see a lot of guys just, you know, pointing to each other like, hey, get here. And if there was a defensive breakdown, you actually see guys come and huddle pretty quickly about it. I will get Huerter some credit for that, but I will also say that the Huerter's had some moments defensively that have been pretty poor, especially on off-ball defense. He seems to be kind of lost sometimes. So yeah, I'll give him that credit, like you're saying, AB Breeze. But I also just want to point out that he's had his share of moments where it's been a little bit sloppy on the defensive end. But I give a lot of credit to those guys that do point out things that are like, hey, like, you gotta be here, gotta rotate. I like her getting not so special, but someone that'd be part of the rotation, right? And you know, and again, he's not gonna be starting in any sort of sense. Not your starting shooting guard, not your starting small forward. That's not something you can be sustainable with. But ideally, you know, if he does stay here, which I don't know if he would, but probably a bench role would be probably the best thing. That was one of my 600 rewatches that finish. Yeah, of course. I'm sure so many Bulls fans went to bed watching that finish a billion times. I honestly, I went and rewatched some of that. I'm just like, I can't believe the Bulls like scored here. Like they scored like I don't know what it was. It's like less than like 2 minutes left to go here, and it's just like, bro, how did the Bulls just score all these shots, man? Crazy. I know nothing about those two guys at the end of the bench, not named E.J. Liddell. Who are they and why are they here? Okay, so if you're wondering really quickly, these Emmanuel Miller and Jameer Young are both on two-way contracts. We got Emmanuel Miller in the middle of the season, and he's a guy, I think he's 24, maybe he's 23, I don't fully remember, but he's a forward that, like, unfortunately, when I did watch him, he was 24. Like, he just, like, it's kind of like when I watch him in the G League, I'm like, man, he's like Patrick Williams. If Patrick Williams had a better ball handler, better ball handle, and is willing to shoot a little bit more in the G League. So that's I'm trying to say that in a more positive sense. Like, they have a very similar body type, and the way they move is also pretty similar. And he also uses his left hand more like how Patrick Williams likes to use his left hand, and it almost to a fault. So like I'm not trying to like hate on him, but like he kind of just like moves like Patrick Williams, but also moves better than P. Will does in the G League at least. Obviously, you know, we haven't really seen too much in the NBA, so it's not anything too special from him. But this is Emmanuel Miller. I forget what team he was on beforehand. I do apologize, but he was on a G League team before he signed with the Bulls. I'm sure I messed up his name. No, I didn't. Okay, cool. This is with the Windy City Bulls. So this is stats with the Windy City Bulls when he got here. So I mean 16 and a half points per game, 45% from the field. The 3-point percentage is not good with us. But I know that earlier, like he wasn't shooting this bad earlier in the season. So this is still Windy City Bulls. I forget how G League works. Sorry. So that's preseason. I don't care about preseason. Let's go tip-off tournament. Okay, yeah. So he was with whoever this team is. Texas Legends. There we go. So I think it was with the Dallas team. And like here are his numbers with this team beforehand. So similar points overall, but the 3-point percentage was definitely better in the 16 games. So not really sure what to look at that, but the rebounding is something that I do respect from him. He is like a pretty like all right rebounder for his overall size. As you can see here, 7 rebounds. So yeah, not bad. You know, about a steal and a block per game from him. So I have looked at him a little bit. Now, Jameer Young, we recently just signed him after Adama Sanogo is out for the rest of the season because he got he's been injured since basically the All-Star break. And he was having some overall just I think it was leg issues if I'm remembering. I'm trying to remember, but we then waived Adama Sanogo from his 2-way contract to then sign Jameer Young to the 2-way. And so with the Bulls, with the Windy City Bulls, here's his numbers here. 20 points per game. You know, overall pretty decent shooting splits considering his size. And 6.5 assists. So, you know, pretty good overall numbers. I have not looked too much into him, I won't lie. He's not really someone I've really followed too closely, but I have seen some box scores. Earlier he was with Grand Rapids. Yeah, okay, Grand Rapids Gold. Couldn't tell you who this team is for. I'm gonna guess this is the Denver Nuggets team. Maybe it's just another team. And here are his numbers here. So in total, it's been an all right season for him. The 3-point percentage is very all over the place, but not abnormal. Tip-off tournament, because again, there's G League's weird. Here are his numbers for the tip-off tournament. So, do I think any of these guys, in short, really have a future with this Bulls team? Probably not. I think E.J. Liddell maybe has the best chance, but like I don't really see him really having much of a future anyway. You know, Liddell is definitely interesting. So I'm not really someone that I'm like looking at. I was like, yeah, he's someone that I'm like, you know, thinking of like, oh, he's gonna come in and be effective. He might eventually get there one day, but I don't really know if he'll ever get there. So unfortunately, I think just both of them are just not gonna be part of the future. So I would hope the Bulls go and use their 2-way contracts and probably other people. We'll see about Sanogo if they like bring him back because I think he's still eligible for another 2-way contract next season, and which I wouldn't be opposed to that. But you know, we'll see. I do think Sanogo does have some sort of future in the NBA. I just don't know like what it's gonna really be. It's probably a bench player, right? But I do think that he might need another year. But we're kind of getting to the point now where it's just like, I mean, how long are we gonna give him? So yeah. The only step back is right, but I wouldn't say it's off the table. I'm also not gonna take it off the table just yet. Can't wait for play-in. P. No Will to light it up. Yeah, woohoo. Yeah. Does Tam play defense? Yeah, Tam does play defense. I'm not saying it's anything spectacular, but he does play defense. The Celtics play defense. I would argue that as much as people want to give Jaylen Brown good defensive like praise, I think Tatum's actually a really good defender. He doesn't get like cut off ball too often like how Jaylen Brown does. So that team plays good defense, and Tatum is a major reason why. He's low managing himself, so he has plenty of energy for the play-in to earn his 4 points in 30 minutes. Yeah, that's definitely. Oof. If Billy is really gonna be like trying to win that playing game, I would not play Patrick Williams really any minutes, assuming that Lonzo is healthy. Trey Jones is probably back. We'll see. Like, you have enough guys where you don't need to play them. So don't play them, honestly, if it were up to me. I'd like to see him get thrown out there for like 6 minutes, see what he looks like. He's 6'1". Why? Oh, are you talking? Wait, which one are you talking about, Tyler? Miller or Young? Because we saw Young actually get some minutes today. Jameer Young actually came in the second quarter today. I don't know if you recognized it, but he actually did come into the second quarter, and like he didn't really do anything. He was just kind of standing in the corner, but we actually saw him get some minutes. Why someone we would never even put on the court taking up a roster spot? Are you talking about just the two-way spots, or are we talking about like anybody on the actual NBA roster? Or are we talking about Patrick Williams? Sorry, I know I'm late to some of these messages, but if you're wondering why we were testing these guys out, I mean, like, I think two-way contracts are definitely all for experimentation, just like see who's maybe a shot in the dark that you might get someone good from. Oh, Jameer Young. Yeah, I mean, he might. Like, I just think, unfortunately, he does. I don't really see too much of a future for him. But I could be wrong. I think the reason why we did that, though, when it came to waiving Sanogo for him, is just that it's the middle of the season, right? Or closer to the end of the year. So it's kind of hard for, you to go and find someone that's, like, readily available that isn't already on a two-way. So I personally, I'm not that pissed about it. Do I think that there's definitely options that the Bulls probably should have taken up earlier? Maybe. But, it's kind of like end of the All-Star break type of situation where it's just like, okay, well, not a lot of guys are really that available. What happened to the Liberty guy? Oh, Javon Freeman Liberty? He's on the Winning City Bulls, if you're wondering. He just doesn't have a contract. Javon Freeman Liberty has just not done anything, unfortunately. I went to the Summer League when he was performing there, and he looked pretty good. He then got the two-way contract from the Raptors, and the Raptors waived him. So, he unfortunately, if you're wondering, he's on the Windy City Bulls again. So if you're like worried that some other team's gonna come up and snatch him, like, don't be worried at all, because he's playing for the Bulls. So, genuinely, don't go out there and start worrying. But I'm not. I unfortunately, as much as I want to see him succeed because he's a DePaul guy, he's not really. He really hasn't done too much. It sucks, but it just kind of is what it is. So I'm trying to get to the Windy City Bulls, but I forget how crazy this G League website is. Here you go. Here he is. He's right here. Javon Freeman Liberty is right here. Mind you, he's also 25, so he's older than Jameer Young. So here are his numbers. Like, I mean, you can go ahead and take it whatever you want to with these numbers. I mean, they're 19 points per game is nothing to slouch about, but unfortunately, like, a lot of teams just don't really see much of a future for him. So, including the Raptors, right? And he put up pretty nice numbers on that team, but I think we can all talk about how I was personally wrong about like Antonio Blakeney and his numbers in the G League and how he would come up and perform. God, who was that? Who was that guy that the Bulls had to like go and waive recently that played for the South Sudan team? I'm forgetting about him. He was like, Carlik Jones, right? Carlik Jones was like, he was on the two-way contract. He was averaging the most points per game in the G League, and he comes up and he doesn't really do anything, right? So it's a hard kind of middle ground to find, where it's just like, yeah, you're performing pretty well in the G League, but like, can you actually go and perform well on an actual NBA squad? Some players that don't really put up great numbers in the G League, but then they come up and perform pretty well in the NBA, like Langston Galloway, right? Like, it just kind of happens. So it's a really weird overall stuff at the end of the day. So, like, I mean, again, whatever you want to put stock in the numbers, like, I personally thought Carlik Jones was going to come up and like actually be like a rotational player. He came up and was nothing. So the guy that was arguably the MVP of the league because of how well he played and was leading the league in points per game for qualified players, he came up and was nothing in the NBA. So yeah, I don't know. Teams really don't have much faith in Javon Freeman Liberty, unfortunately. You know, he's a DePaul guy, so it sucks. And I went to DePaul, so I would love to see him succeed, but unfortunately, it's not. I don't know if it's going to really happen or not. Taylor's legit one of the best defenders in the league. I think he doesn't get the rep that other like great defenders does, but I think he's a very good defender. Cody says he got congrats from Zach DeMar, AC, etc. and the player. I'm glad he didn't. Last night didn't run for him. Yeah, I'm also happy he got it. I was kind of thinking he might not get it after that performance, but 2 player of the week seems to help solidify that for him. So I'm happy Kobe got it. You know, he joins one of very few Bulls to ever get it. Very, very special award. So props to him for getting that award, and hope it continues, man. I mean, it's a good start to April, obviously, but hope it continues in the next season for him. So that sucks. Looked like the last time I watched him. I mean, we have to remind ourselves that was 2 years ago. I think there's been a versatile defender like Tatum since Rodman. Ooh, really? I mean, I personally think that Giannis is like one of the most versatile defenders in the league. The Bucks kind of put him as like a more help defender because that's their defense. But I mean, I think Giannis can guard 1 through 5, like dead ass. So Rodman obviously is Rodman. But I really think that I would put Giannis above Tatum personally, but then Tatum is definitely pretty versatile. What happened to Kenny Lofton? I actually don't know what really happened. I know we waived him, but I think he's playing overseas, if I'm not mistaken. And unfortunately, again, for Kenny, like, as much as people wanted to, like, keep him around and everything, like, I just don't really see much of a future for him either. He is on the younger side, so maybe there is a chance, but right now he is currently with the Shanghai Sharks. So yeah, he is actually in China. I don't really know how he's doing, but we'll quickly go to Basketball Reference and see. No, okay, cool. I want his stats. Thank you. Where is? There you go. I mean, in Shanghai, he is averaging 25 points per game and 12 rebounds and 6.5 assists. So he's an absolute star over in Shanghai. Would I've chosen him to come bring it back once Sonogo went down? For sure. But he's in Shanghai. Like, why would you like suddenly just do that? You know? So I don't really blame him. I'm not worried at all. I was just wondering, is there not someone better we could give a contract that we actually develop to actually want to develop? I mean, I'm sure there is, but it's hard to find those guys sometimes. So I'm not personally gonna be. I mean, look, I hate the front office as much as anybody, but I'm not gonna be too critical of that. They took some shots at some guys, and I respect that they took some shots and then just like, leave Sonogo on the roster when he's out for the rest of the year, So I respect that. And granted, that might be me praising him for the bare minimum, but for a front office that doesn't really meet the bare minimum requirements sometimes, I am just kind of like, hey, you did a good job, at least in my opinion. Less impressive than THT? I mean, I think overall Kenny Lofton's definitely not an NBA level player, and THT's probably a bench guy, so yeah, makes sense. He might develop into that one day, but I would agree that he's probably not there yet. We need some nuggets, some new power forward. Oh boy. If I was your power forward, we will be severely undersized. I am very, very short in terms of NBA standards. I'm taller than Muggsy Bogues, but I'm not much taller than that. Rodman's wild take, bro. I mean, Rodman was a hell of a defender, though, Tyler. Like, let's be real. Rodman was incredibly defensive. Like, the guy, not only with his rebounding, but, like, the dude was just an incredible defender back in the day. So, but there's a versatility defensively. I mean, like, it's not that wild, I don't think. What Steph did tonight, I was wondering if he was going to break the record tonight. I actually had this pulled up for a reason. So he got to 12. Steph got to 12 threes, but he went 12 of 20 for 3-point range, bro. He had 52 points, man. The Grizzlies, of course, in their own wheelhouse, just got absolutely wrecked after firing Coach Jenkins. So, good job, Grizzlies, I guess. But holy crap, man. I was wondering if he was going to get it. I was like, oh my God, is he going to get to the 14 threes that Klay Thompson set and maybe even break it? But it didn't happen, unfortunately. So Steph is just, you know, got up there once again in terms of threes all time in a game, but he didn't break it. So, but I mean, oh my God, what a game. 16 of 31, he's 12 of 20. I mean, if he's peaking at this right time, bro, like, I mean, I don't really have the Warriors coming out of the West, but I mean, if he peaks at the right moment, then I think you got to give the Warriors a really fair shot, you know. Saying slide it to Rodman. I'm not saying Tatum was better. Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, got it. Yeah. Tatum was legit guarding fives in the playoffs, and guards were scared on the switch for him. Well, I mean, I think guards were definitely scared of the switch for him, but that's also kind of how they play their defense sometimes. Like if you don't realize it sometimes, the Boston Celtics, they'll actually put like Drew Holiday on like a center, right? Or they'll put like guys like Tatum or guys like Brown on the opposing team centers, because it nullifies the pick and roll between the guard and the big man, right? So the Celtics are very good at that, and Tatum is obviously a part of it, where Tatum like goes and guards bigger guys or smaller guys, and they basically take away your main options with that sort of level of defense. And so yeah, you got to give Tatum the credit for that for sure. So yeah, I do think Tatum is very good defensively. Tatum's like 6'9", 6'10", isn't he? I think he's 6'9", yeah. He's 6'8", apparently, the Basketball Reference. I don't know how legit that is, though. I feel like he's like actually 6'9", but you know. Any thoughts Jenkins ends up Kings maybe? I mean, let me just tell you the reason why I'm not like freaking out for Taylor Jenkins. Do I think he's probably a really good coach? Yeah, I do. But I do, like, when he was fired, I kind of waited to see what, from some Grizzlies fans, like, what did they have to say about it? And I read some articles, and I was just like, oh, you know, all right. Like, it doesn't make much sense to me, but after hearing what the Grizzlies, you know, fans kind of had to say, they're like, well, we knew this was coming, and so, you know, at least he did it now before the playoffs started. So, sure, you know. Here's the thing with Taylor Jenkins, okay? So apparently a lot of people were getting pretty pissed at him because he was he like, if you're not aware what the Grizzlies did this year, they completely changed their offense. That's why Jaren Jackson Jr. is an all-star this season, is because a lot of the offense is now kind of like perimeter heavy. We're gonna play through JJJ. We're gonna, you know, really try to spread the ball heavily, and you know, the guys like Desmond Bane, guys like Jaren Jackson Jr., like, these guys kind of flourish off of that. The problem, though, is just that if you're not aware, like, Ja Morant's numbers this year have not really been that spectacular. I do think this is part of the reason why I'm always scared of Morant's future, just because he's a guy that seems to get injured pretty consistently, and I just don't know how long he has. Like, I honestly think we're looking at his prime right now. Maybe his prime's already gone, but you know, it's kind of something that a lot of people are like looking at. It's just like the way that the Grizzlies have been kind of playing this year. They're not running things through Ja, and Grizzlies fans want everything to still be run through Ja Morant. Like, they think that this guy is their absolute superstar, and so to see Taylor Jenkins go away from running everything through Ja Morant, they're kind of like upset at him. There was also some other stuff when it came to like Dylan Brooks later, like that, or earlier under Taylor Jenkins' coaching career, that was kind of like, everyone was like, oh, I don't know how, like, we really appreciate how Taylor Jenkins uses Dylan Brooks in the rotation. Which is fine. I can understand maybe that. Here's my only thing, though. I just, again, I don't watch enough Grizzlies games, but, like, I just don't really blame Taylor Jenkins for, like, really getting, you know, making like the offense of switch up between like, okay, well, we can't solely rely on our point guard anymore to kind of lead everything, so we need to rely on our shooting guard and you know, our power forward that can go and at least give us 20 a night, and we're gonna have to rely on those types of guys and kind of create an offense around them, right? And I don't really blame him. Jolly has played 45 games heading into, you know, or from the last game. Like, he was barely, you know, able to play last season for multiple reasons, and then you know, he is not even really playing, like, he's barely playing half a season this year. Like, I don't really blame him. But, you know, I also want to trust Grizzlies fans because they have more knowledge than I do. So, does he go to the Kings? Maybe. It kind of sounds like a Kings hire, but at the same time, I do think that he's going to be pretty heavily sought after. And I don't know if the Kings are really willing to pay up. They did just fire Mike Brown, so that means that they're already paying 2 head coaches. And so unless they fire Doug Christie, which they probably should, that means they're paying 3 head coaches, and I don't think the Kings are going to be willing to go and do that, unfortunately. So I don't have faith that they're going to go out and get Jenkins, which they probably should. But yeah, it's overall just a very odd situation. Grizzlies fans actually seem pretty happy about it. Me as an outsider looking in, I'm just like, I don't get it. Like, this is a team that I think is honestly overperforming compared to what we all thought that they were going to do. And I think that they're definitely a first round exit no matter what. But I mean, I don't think you can really trust Ja anymore, but that's just my opinion. And he still has his highlights from here and there. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure at all. Don't watch enough Boston basketball to say anything, though. Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. I mean, the Celtics, they're the Celtics, but you'll see, if pay attention to the playoffs. Like, the playoffs, in the playoffs, like, you're going to see these guys, like, the Celtics run a lot of weird things, but they're very smart about it. Like, I really do think that they're very aware of how to run stuff. Joe Mazzulla is an absolute he's a weirdo. And when you watch the Celtics, like, for example, pay attention to when they kind of run a lot of if you see Tatum or Brown at the top of the key running like a pick and roll set, where you're gonna actually see a lot of is that you're gonna see Drew Holiday or like Derek White, whoever is being guarded by the smaller guy, they're gonna be playing in baseline, because you would think that, oh, these guys are 3-point shooters that need to just kind of stay on the perimeter, but the way that they created their offense is that they try to put the defense in like the worst position possible. And so, let's say, for example, if the Bulls are playing the Boston Celtics, which I hope it doesn't happen, but I guess there is still a possibility, but it's pretty low in the playoffs. But if the Bulls are playing the Boston Celtics, like, you're probably putting like Kobe White on, let's say, Drew Holiday, right? What they'll do is that they'll put Holiday baseline, and you'll see that Holiday just kind of sticks baseline in the dunker spot. And what it does is that it puts Kobe White as the main help defender, right? So instead of having, Buzelis be like the main help defender, or, like someone else that's a little bit bigger come over and be like the main, rotator, you're then putting Kobe White, who is guarding Drew Holiday, as the main help defender. And it puts them in a rough spot, because it's just like, well, I don't want Kobe being our main help defender at any point. He's too small, and obviously doesn't really have the defensive instincts to do such a thing, right? So they just do a good job of exploiting things that doesn't always show up. Like, it's not always just like, oh, we need to go and get the one-on-one matchup that we need, but instead we're going to exploit you this way, and you're not even like really recognizing it. A lot of the times when we watch them face the Bulls, like, they don't put like Porzingis on Vucevic. Like, they'll put a smaller guy on Vooch, because when the Bulls try to run the pick and roll, they just switch it. And then when they try to post up Vooch, then they'll come over and put Porzingis onto him, and they'll quickly switch back. Like, it's a very smart process, and it's something that never ever is talked about, because it's like, it's Boston basketball and we just care about the superstars. But Joe Mazzulla is an absolute maniac, and he finds ways to really exploit teams that doesn't always show up. It's a very, very smart process that they have. So I think Boston is, as much as people want to be like Cleveland's going to come out of the East, like, I mean, there's definitely that possibility, but Boston's still very scary. I hope people understand that, even though they aren't leading the Eastern Conference right now. Didn't know that Josh 3-point percentage is that bad. Well, oh yeah. Josh's 3-point percentage has not gotten any better. It's something that he needs to continuously work on, especially as he gets older in his time. But yeah, I don't really think he has much left in terms of like being an all-star caliber guard, but that's just my opinion. He needs to get the 3-point shot up. It's too low at the moment. He's not trying to be from the hood anymore. It's not, I don't really care about him being from the hood. It's more about the fact that he's just like out here like showing his guns and everything. It's just like, bro, like, we don't need you to do that. I personally, I'm pretty liberal with my overall politics, but if you have a gun, all right. I just don't need you showing it, and doing some whack stuff with it. So yeah, I'm happy he's not doing that anymore, but he needs to, figure out some stuff. I didn't notice that when I watched them play the other night, it's Drew on the big screen. Yeah, that's how they do it. Like, it's very, very smart on defense. It's genuinely insane. And if you try to adjust, like, let's say if you're playing offense and you try to adjust and they're like, oh, well, if that means that Porzingis is guarding this guy, they have protocols. Like, they understand what to do, and you'll see them like pre-rotate it to help out Porzingis, and then you like see the help and recover really well. It's a very, very good process that they have. That's all I was saying, especially if he's not actually from that. I just thought it looked cool. Oh, I mean, for sure, yeah. Yeah, if people are from the hood, I think, you know, it's cool for them to actually wear it and be like, yeah, I'm from the hood. Like, I think that's something that, you know, if they want to embrace it, they go ahead and embrace it. It's just that with Ja, just like some of the stuff that he was doing on those like Instagram lives, I was just like, whoa, did he need that big of a suspension? Maybe not, but it just was like, man, I don't really think we need that. There could be better decisions made. And he, you know, it seems like he's learned, but he can't stay healthy. That's the problem. He just isn't a guy that's staying healthy. So yeah, I know a lot of Bulls fans wanted Taylor Jenkins. They're just like, go ahead and just hire this guy. I don't know. Like, I'm kind of on the fence about it. Just as like, first and foremost, it's not going to happen. You're not going to fire Billy Donovan, and the Reinsdorfs are not going to pay 2 head coaches. Okay, that's just not going to happen. But you know, for the Bulls, if you go and hire Jenkins, then no matter what, it means that you're trying to win. And I'm just like, okay, well, they're probably gonna go and do that anyway with Billy. He's still here, but I would really like a rebuild. And getting Jenkins is not something they do for a rebuild. There's a people play I want to tell you about. I put in my notes, but I forgot what exactly the reason was. I mean, I have a couple of P-Will plays off the top of my head that I can go ahead and pull up, but let me know if you find it. 10:25 mark in the fourth, I believe. Okay, let me go ahead and look at this. Who is more likely to ask out in the offseason, Ja or Giannis? I feel like neither. I guess if I had to choose one, it would be maybe Ja. But I mean, they just fired the coach that apparently he wasn't really happy about. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe the Grizzlies are all in on Ja again, which I don't know if I would personally do that, but maybe. Okay. All right. Ball display by Tyler. 10:25 in the fourth quarter. Sorry, let me decrease this size just a little bit. All right, just to let you know, I have to pause this a lot. Okay, we're gonna be doing a lot of pauses, and I'm probably gonna be shifting this around just to avoid copyright. It's kind of the only way I can do it, so I do apologize about this. But if this would load, please. Hello, thank you. All right, rebound by the Bulls, push on the fast break. Kobe is gonna come up here and shoot a 3. He hesitates, pulls up. Don't mind it, honestly. I think it's a fine play. And then Patrick Williams goes and gets the rebound here. So then P-Will gets the offensive rebound, and he decides to drive it. Doesn't get the step baseline, so he spins back around and throws it back out. And the Bulls reset, and I don't remember how this possession ends personally, so we're going to watch it fully. Sorry, I'm going to pause this again. So pick and roll, Kobe rejects the screen, Kobe decides to drive hard to the basket, defense collapses. You saw that Scotty Barnes came over, so he throws it out to Kevin Huerter, which is good recognition by Kobe. Huerter is going to be open here for an open 3-point shot. He misses, and then Bulls get another offensive rebound. Again, pausing again. So now, so this is the third possession for the Bulls in this possession, and we gotta give to Patrick Williams off a handoff little pick and roll screen, side pick and roll with Zach Collins. He drives, does a spin, and goes up and lays it in. So is this what we want to talk about, Tyler? Yep. All right. So I mean, he had that nice spin move, and I believe the Raptors then call timeout here, I think, or something like that. Nice spin move, you know? I want to see more of it, because that's a much better decision than what he did earlier in the game, which is that he tried to make a left-handed layup, and I'm just like, what are you doing? You're a horrible player in terms of making layups in the first place, but then you're going to go and try to make it with your left hand? Like, That drove me insane. Yeah, to see the spin move off of the pick and roll where he's going to his left is a good decision. And I appreciate him going and finishing with his right, because that's something he needs to do more of. Why does he just consistently do that? Get a switch into a smaller guy and head to the basket? Because he's too slow-footed, unfortunately, and so he doesn't always use his size to his advantage, because he's too slow-footed, and he doesn't have the dribbling skills to effectively get himself into a good spot and use his size to his ability to finish over smaller guys. But yeah, I would love to see him do this more often. But because of his lack of a dribbling ability, and then he unfortunately doesn't have the greatest footwork and he's slow, you see, a lot more pull-ups and some floater shots, which is just like, yeah, it's not great. Or he kind of just gets into a bad spot where he needs like the core strength to really finish, and he doesn't have it. So it's overall kind of just everything is kind of the problem why he doesn't go and do this more often. Because I agree with you that this is something that I would have loved to have seen him do consistently, right? But the problem is that he seems to have at least lost some lift compared to his rookie season. I don't know why, whether it's more weight, or I don't know if he's just not taking his conditioning like seriously, or if his body just for some reason with the injuries just doesn't get as much lift. So there's that. He also, like, even though he came into the league like with some like better overall verticality, I don't really think his athleticism is like off the charts. But he also then came into this league with some problems with in terms of getting his legs right, in terms of getting the proper lift off, and especially one leg. So I think it's honestly just a combination of like his overall just kind of his body is just not fully functioning with his mind with what he wants to do. He doesn't get as much lift off with just one leg, which limits his ability to kind of make some shots, especially around the basket. And then his dribbling package, as much as he tries to believe in it, it's bad. It's too loose. He loses the ball too often. He dribbles off his foot way too often. Therefore, the defense is able to swipe at him, and it prevents him from being able to get a good advantage in the interior. And it leads to him shooting more pull-up shots, or shooting a floater, or getting into the paint and then shooting an off-balance shot. So yeah, it's so frustrating, man, because let me just show you this play. I'm gonna. It's a prime example of what I think is everything wrong with what Pat's, recently. Sorry, I need to go find the play-by-play from it. But Pat just makes me so annoyed sometimes, because it's like I watch him and I'm like, bro, like I don't think you know what your strengths and weaknesses are. So we're going to 7:37 in the second quarter. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but like if I was Patrick Williams, then like if I just knew that like, hey, I don't shoot good around the basket, like it's just not something I do. So if I need to get a layup here, then I need to make sure that I shoot with my right. And he just seems to just not get it. Like this whole play that I'm going to show you guys here, it's just like I have a lot of just question marks about it. Okay, so I mean, this is typical play by the Bulls, all right? Like this is not abnormal that you're about to see. This is typical. 5-out offense. You're gonna see the ball kind of be swung around, and so like you kind of have a lot of options, right? Like you can see both these guys come out, set a double screen for Herter to come up here. You can see Collins come out, set a screen for Pat to come up. You can honestly just like you can see Pat setting a flare, Collins go this way, and then maybe set a screen for Herter, and then like Herter comes up. Like there's a lot you can do with this, and I like it. You're gonna see here by the Bulls. Sorry, I'm gonna go back. Sorry, I forget this does this sometimes. All right, so Pat brought the ball up, right? Gives it to Collins, throw it to Giddey. Okay, so then we're gonna see the double pin down for Herter, or the action as if it's gonna be this sort of play, right? Herter rejects the screen, so that means now after Herter decides to, okay, I'm not gonna take this. Instead of me going this way, right? We're instead gonna go this way and come out. Go this way. Okay, so Herter potentially gets a backdoor pass from Giddey, right? But if that isn't there, then you're going to be seeing Patrick Williams come off a pin down towards the ball. And so Giddey is just basically being like the quarterback. He is just reading the defense, he's reading the routes, and he's going to decide what to do with the basketball. So you see the pin down from Pat, or for Pat, excuse me, by Zach Collins. And so the pin down gives him enough of an advantage where it's like, okay, you can either shoot this or you can drive. And Pat decides after all of this that he's going to drive hard with his left hand and doesn't really even create advantage until like here. And he decides to try to lay up with his left, and it's like way off. It's not even close. Like that, as much as people are gonna be like, well, good thing he drove, Duncan, right? I've been adamant about the fact that like, I don't really want to see Patrick really drive. Like, I don't think it's good for him. I think he's a horrible player in terms of making layups. So I would personally just not like to see him drive at all, especially in the traffic. Like, that's not something I want to see him do. If it's a wide open situation where he has a line drive to the basket, then yeah, go and drive the ball. But if he's a guy that's coming off a pin down and he's not really creating any sort of separation with his dribble package and is going to be running into the teeth of the defense, like, I don't need to see him doing this. I honestly would have liked to just seen him pull up instead. So I'm a little bit annoyed by this whole shot. I'm like, why did you shoot this? I just don't get it. You decided to shoot a layup with your left, and you don't make layups, and especially with your left hand. So all of this was just like, as it's nitpicking of me. Like, I understand that I'm nitpicking, but when I watch this is the reason why I have no faith in him moving forward, because it's this sort of play because he thinks in his head he can go and make this play. When it's just in reality, you can't. You just, right now, with your physical capabilities and your overall skill set, with the lack of ability for you to create lift off the ground off of 1 foot, and your inability to finish around the basket, I don't have any faith of you making this shot, especially with your left. So it would be nice at least to know that, hey, if you just thought about it for a second, I don't shoot this at least. Maybe I drive it and kick it. Maybe I do a spin move to try to get to my right. Maybe I do a hezzy or something like that to try to get my defender off balance and shoot a floater. I don't care what it is, but I don't want to see this. This is the one thing that I'm like, why did you do this? And so, you know, when he went and took a couple threes, I know a lot of people were thrilled by it, but I'm like, that's what I want you to see you do instead. If you go and just shoot threes, like, I have more faith in those going down than I have right now in you making a contested layup. So please just know your strengths. That's all I really ask. Like, if we're gonna steal Stacey King's KYP, like, know your personnel, I think you really need to know yourself. Like, the biggest thing that you need to do is understand your strengths and weaknesses. And if Pat is clearly not understanding that he's a terrible finisher around the basket, then it's either he needs to go and do better and work on that, or just don't go to the basket in the middle of the defense. So we have plenty of guys on this team that can go and drive the ball effectively. You're not one of them. So don't go and do it. I don't need you to do it. I just need you to understand your role. So that's just kind of my whole, like, I just am so frustrated with him. We've seen moments, right, especially that rookie season, where we're like, wow, like, this is different from Pat. Like, this is cool. Hasn't been the way since. And I'm just, the amount of people that want to say that Billy Donovan is the reason why he hasn't developed, then, like, what the hell is happening with Buzelis this season? Like, why did Kobe White turn into the player that he's turned into overall, which is, you know, maybe he doesn't become an all-star, but he's at least turned into a 19-point per game scorer, right? You know, Io, as much as people don't want to say it, like, Io didn't have that great of a year, he averaged a career high this year. Like, there's guys that go out and perform better. So, and it's all under Billy Donovan. Like, these are guys that are all playing for the same coach. So I just personally think that, yes, a coach could have some effect, but there's also comes a time and place where it's just like, bro, when do you just start looking at the player himself? When do you start looking at the player as just like, you're not doing enough? Donovan's played Patrick, I think, plenty, honestly. I think he's played him, honestly, too much. But I think, at least for me, when it comes to Patrick Williams moving forward, I'm like, bro, I'm looking at you right now, no matter what. I don't really care if you think Billy's kind of screwed you over, or if you think DeMar DeRozan messed you up. I genuinely do not care. I look at you, and I'm like, Io is a guy that came off the bench his rookie season and had to play his way into rotation and is now a rotational player. And he comes off the bench still sometimes. Kobe was a guy that also came off the bench his rookie season. He started his sophomore season, got benched again, and then was on the bench for a while, but played better off the bench and then earned himself a starting spot in year 5. Buzelis was barely getting any playing time to start the season, and he had to play his way into more minutes under Billy Donovan, and Donovan seems like he's the hardest jackass to him, because that's what Buzelis has asked from Donovan, is to coach him like he's the best player on the floor and say, like, hey, you messed up, you deserve to get some bench. Like, if you're Pat, I'm looking at you, and you were starting day one when you got into this league. And yes, there are COVID and everything, I get it, but you were starting day one. And you started every single game of your rookie season. You then had the injury year 2, but then you come back in year 3 and we're expecting you to come in and be better, and you're just not better, and it's been the same thing since. So it's just so frustrating, because it's like a lot of people still want to blame Donovan, still want to blame the front office for bringing DeMar DeRozan in. And I'm just like, there are too many young players now around Patrick Williams that have played under Billy Donovan and also played under DeMar DeRozan, and they have all at least increased their game. Patrick Williams has gone the other way, and I feel like at this point you just have to blame the player himself. And it's just like, man, we spent a 4th overall pick on this guy and $90 million on him with the player option. It's just an absolute disaster. It's a straight up disaster. The fear that I'm honestly starting to get from him, if you're wondering, okay, y'all remember this guy? You remember Michael Kidd-Gilchrist? Like, if you kind of look at the numbers, bro, in terms of overall scoring, like, it's a little bit scary. In terms of, like, overall defensive impact, for a guy that was supposed to be a defensive specialist, it's also kind of scary looking. His rebounding, though, at the bare minimum, no matter what from him, whether he was playing 24, 25, it didn't matter how many minutes. But no matter what, Kidd-Gilchrist in his early years, he was an effective rebounder. Pat, on the other hand, he has never averaged 12 points per game. The career high is 10. He is nowhere near in terms of the overall rebounding aspect. He's a guy also, in terms of his shooting percentages, is getting worse, especially for this season alone. And the 3-point percentage, like, I mean, Kidd-Gilchrist never shot threes, but Pat's like that's like the one, like, saving grace for Pat, is that, like, you know, his overall career is like a 38% 3-point shooter. It's just like, we're getting to this point now where, I mean, Kidd-Gilchrist was out of the league pretty quickly. Like, I really hope we're not at this point for Pat, but, like, we're getting there. And I'm going to be very scared moving forward that we just paid a guy that is, you know, getting paid $18 million a season, and he just isn't really able to play. Like, I hope not, but, whew. I was getting flashbacks to plays of him as he kept describing different issues. Oh, for sure. I mean, I can just name like a bunch of plays off the top of my head where it's just like, yeah, his lift off with his right leg wasn't good here. His dribble package and this play, like, he dribbled off his foot. Like, it's just countless. And the fact that I remember more of that than any of his good plays is a big evidence of just, like, he makes bad plays more than good plays currently. Much rather him drop step into a closest shot, no falling away baskets. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Anything than what he did on that specific play. Pat was getting 35 minutes a game as a starter, while T. Craig was getting DNP's early season. It's not a lack of opportunity from Billy. Oh, for sure not. It's Billy has given Patrick plenty of opportunity. And yes, Patrick has had his injuries this year, but other players have also had their injuries, and they've come back and they've played better. Yeah, I mean, Torrey Craig honestly should have probably been playing over Patrick Williams for a good portion of the season, if we're being dead honest, and he didn't. So it genuinely really makes me annoyed with how the Patrick defenders are still out there that are like blaming Billy, blaming DeRozan or whatever. I'm just like, well, why the hell is Matas Buzelis so much better in his rookie season than Patrick Williams? Like, I think Buzelis has gotten better as the season's gone on. He hasn't gotten worse, at least. So I would hope that Patrick could do something similar moving forward, but I just, it really bothers me, man, that, like, we have people that are trying to still defend Patrick Williams for being like, no, this is Billy's fault, or this is whoever's fault. I'm like, no, it's not. This is at the end of the day, it's on Patrick Williams himself. And if he isn't able to keep things going, then I do think at some point the Bulls have to consider trying to move him for, nothing. Like, move him and have to send out a pick just to get the contract off the books, because it's just like he's taking up money now. He's not just taking up a roster spot, he's taking up money. and we can't have that. You can't have a dead $18 million on the books. So this is not, I mean, we keep saying it's a big offseason for Patrick Williams. It's honestly probably the biggest offseason of his career, and it was already a big offseason last offseason. So I have no faith moving forward about his ability, but hey, you're getting shots, bro. Like, you're gonna get opportunities. Like, you're gonna get some opportunities still with this squad, because I mean, I don't think we're gonna be winning anything anytime soon. So you'll get chances. I mean, we need forward depth, so it's right there for you, bro. So yeah, it's disappointing overall. I think in this game overall for Pat, it wasn't like too horrible, but it wasn't anything spectacular. Could have had more in 24 minutes tonight. So not too shocked overall with how this kind of went for him tonight at the end of the day. But plus 21, highest plus minus of the team, guys. Woohoo. I don't really, again, plus minus is a weird stat at the end of the day. I don't really think it's a great stat to look at. So once when, yeah, Craig was the guy. Oh yeah, I think Craig would have offered plenty more. Because Montes has elite mentality. Not only does Montes have the elite mentality, but it just seems like he is the gym rat. Like, if I had to pick between the two guys that I think is going to be at the gym more, or, you know, maybe not at the gym specifically, but just like working on himself, like whether that's, you know, you go into the mountains or do something, or go to the beach and, like, you know, you have a parachute behind you and like you run. I don't care what it is, but if I had to choose of who I think is going to go and do more, like, what, no matter how much money they're getting paid, like, let's say Buzelis is getting paid $18 million a season, like Patrick is not getting paid. Like, I don't care what it is. If I had to choose between who I think is going to go and do more to their body and to their game, it's going to be Buzelis 10 times out of 10, like, easily. It's not even a question. And I don't know if that's just about mentality, but also, like, it's just straight up, like, it's motive, like, which I guess you could say is mentality, but, like, Buzelis seems like he wants to be great. Patrick doesn't really want to do that. He just seems to just kind of float. He's just like, I'm here. I'm 6'7". I'm big. I'm in the NBA. Like, I hate to say it, but I want him to do better. He has some physical tools that should allow him to do better, but I don't know if he's really working on to get better. Did you see Montes in that video with Will Smith? He said postgame that he's never seen Fresh Prince and made him feel so old, so I turned into dust. Oh my god. I made me feel so old, so I turned into dust, bro. Oh my god. I did not see that, but I think that's hilarious, honestly. I did not see that at all, so I'll go see that interview or that post game stuff. For sure, I agree Montes would do that. He looks like he would grind until his last contract. I mean, that's what Montes seems like. I mean, it seems like his family is also just that way. So, yeah, man, I'm really hoping that Buzelis is gonna prove me right about this, and prove all the doubters about him wrong, including myself, man. Like I was like, I have a lot of questions about him. But again, like I said, I thought no matter what, he'd be picked like top 8, even with all the questions. Because again, like, you know, T-John Salon, for example, is a guy I have a lot of questions about, and you know, would I pick him over Buzelis at the time? No. But he had a Buzelis for whatever reason, so I don't get it. But yeah, I'm hoping he's gonna just like prove even someone like me, like, hey, yeah, you were wrong about this. You're wrong about me, and to the other 10 teams that didn't draft him, you know, ahead of the Bulls. So thank God we got him. Thank God, because bro, I won't lie, the power forward position, like, if we didn't get Buzelis, bro, I'm like, I don't know what the hell we're gonna do at power forward. If imagine we didn't draft Buzelis and we have Pat here doing this sort of season, it's just like, God, like our future power forward spot, I don't know what the hell we're gonna do. Like, we'd have to go and like trade Pat in a first round pick just to kind of solidify the spot moving forward, man. Cody Williams over Buzelis, yeah, I mean, like, even with Cody Williams, for example, like, he has a lot of raw potential, but I was also just like, it's almost similar concerns to him, but like, he didn't have the ball skills, like, he didn't have the dribble that Buzelis has, and I was just like, I don't get why some of these guys went ahead of Buzelis, but, you know, sure. Even Ron Holland, like, I wanted Ron Holland, but I'm like, I don't think Buzelis falls to 10 or 11, like, there's no shot, but Holland, yeah, I could see Ron Holland at 11, like, that makes a lot of sense, but yeah, Pistons draft him at 5. I'm like, what? That makes no sense to me, but sure. We'll take it. We'll gladly take it, man. All right, I want to just check in on a couple other things here. All right, this game is on TNT. I might go watch that game. So next one, this is a big win for us to see Portland beat the Hawks because Portland is still staying right on our tails. Like I said, I would like to get below Portland in terms of the overall standing, so we'd be in a better spot in the Tankathon. So we'd be at the ninth. We have the ninth best overall odds done at that point if we get below Portland, I believe. Yeah, so I would like to get here. I understand a lot of people like don't think it's that big of a deal, but I personally would like to get here, just so that you have like that slightly higher chance of getting a top 4 pick. I mean, you know, we're talking about a 1.5% chance better of getting the first overall pick. So I would love to get here personally. I think Portland is really gonna try to sit their guys moving forward, but maybe I'm wrong. They're not officially out of the plan because the Kings are still doing so bad, but I would personally like to see Portland keep winning and for us to lose enough to get below them. I don't know if we'll get below the Spurs at this point, which is fine. But stay below Miami. You know, we're in the play-in tournament officially now, so woohoo. But get below Portland. I think that'd be a good overall decision if we get below Portland. And hopefully it works out. Hopefully the odds are forever in our favor. Yeah, I'm going to be paying attention to these other games moving forward to see, like, okay, you know, who's playing who, and hopefully, I know the Bulls have a pretty easy schedule moving forward, but, you know, there's a chance for the Bulls to make up some ground in that. And speaking of which, the Bulls on Friday are going to be going ahead and playing Portland at the United Center. So, I won't lie, I think this is kind of a 50-50 matchup. Like, I'm being dead serious. I know the Bulls have played better recently, but I do think this is like a very 50-50 matchup. I do think that Portland has had some really nice games. Not overall, but like they've just been playing better. Like they've had better play from these guys. Avdia has been insane, bro. I mean, this guy, like, honestly is turning into a very, very solid player. He's had multiple triple doubles this season, so he's been incredible. So I think this is a pretty 50-50 matchup. Toumani Camara, bro, there's a major fan base for this guy. I also would have loved to have him. Like this guy looks awesome. And then, like I said, like I guess Scoot Henderson, yeah, he's out with concussion, yeah. But like I do think like their overall team is starting to like play a little bit better, and Chauncey Billups is doing things a little bit better over there. So I think this is very 50-50. We'll see who ends up winning this one. Wouldn't be shocked if Portland tries to lose it, but I would personally like to lose this one to get us below Portland in the standings. That'd be a good overall decision, at least in my book, and hopefully then the odds work out in our favor. So hoping to see an L personally, but I know a lot of people don't want to see that and just want us to go and play as hard as we can, and you know what, I respect that as well. Yeah, I still do not like Cody Williams. I don't blame you. Yeah, Cody Williams is definitely interesting. Jazz fans are kind of pissed, by the way, about Cody. They're just like, bro, like we drafted Cody Williams over Buzelis after what we've seen this year. It's like, whew. Yeah, I understand that thought process for sure. All right, yeah, I just want to say thank you guys once again for coming into the stream. It's been a really fun season. We're gonna this is Friday, yeah. Okay, yeah, perfect. So this next game is on Friday, so it's not Saturday, thank God. So I will be able to go ahead and stream on this game on Friday, or post-game Friday, excuse me. Yeah, well, we'll talk about it. Let's see if we get below Portland in the overall Tankathon or overall standings and higher in the Tankathon standings. That'd be great. I think it's gonna be an interesting matchup because I think this Portland team has been pretty underrated recently with how Avdi has been playing. So I would really like to see if the Bulls could just end up losing it, which I know a lot of people don't want that, but that's my opinion. But Bulls have 2 days off, so yeah, go ahead and rest up, and I'll see you guys on Friday. If you have not already hit the like button on the stream, please do, helps me out a lot. And then I want to go watch that Nuggets and Timberwolves game, so I'm gonna be sending you guys off. All right, thank you guys a lot. I'll see you guys on Friday at 9:30 p.m. Central Time for the post game show. All right. Bulls win against Toronto. We officially eliminated Toronto, which is woohoo! Yay! Good job, guys. We're officially in the plan, so I'll be seeing you guys no matter what, at least one of the dates between the 15th and the 18th of April. So I'll be seeing you guys then. All right, peace out, y'all. You have a good night. Stay warm. It's crazy out here with the weather. Stay warm. Peace.